I lived along the Mississippi River all my life. And I grew up hunting, fishing. I mean, those are my hobbies. I learned how to trap when I was like 12.
That's
So I was
awesome.
trapping muskrats and things like that, learning how to tan hides.
All right. So, hey, welcome to the Knight's Path podcast. This is Matt Kelly, your host. And now I've got Howard Book, Sarge, and I call him Booker. So, welcome, Booker.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So, Booker's part of my Facebook group, the Knight's Path, and I'll put a link down if you want to join. But I throw some questions out there. I talk about virtues that men in today's day need to have, and Booker threw some really good answers out there. And then looking at his resume, I asked some questions to go in what some of your experiences are. And we're definitely going to get into your martial arts and your military background and things like that. But before we get into that, Booker, let's where are you from? You know, what did you do? Where did you go to high school? What were you into in sports and stuff? And then what got you into the military?
Well, that's pretty easy, my friend. First of all, again, I'm honored to be here, and I appreciate you reaching out to me because it couldn't have came at a better time for me. I'm not gonna lie, especially the way society is and everything else like that. It's like you're looking for a group of guys to run with and share ideas and thoughts and things. So anyway, small town Minnesota, a place called Wabasha.
Okay.
Population at the time was 2,500 when I was growing up. I lived along the Mississippi River all my life. And I grew up hunting, fishing. I mean, those are my hobbies. I learned how to trap when I was like 12.
That's
So I was
awesome.
trapping muskrats and things like that, learning how to tan hides through my youth. My biggest thing is I just love running the bluffs, running the backwaters of the Mississippi, whether I was canoeing, hiking. I had my little Boy Scout backpack, a Marlin 22. My dad would give me,
Nice.
here's 6 rounds of 22, little bolt action. He goes, I'll see you when you get back. You know, remember you got school on Monday. Okay. And away I'd go.
Wow.
But that's when you could do that back in the day.
So was that like on a Friday or Saturday? And he's like, just come back before school?
Yeah, it'd be like a Friday night. And it's like I had my little Boy Scout backpack, and me and my dog at the time, Coco, we'd like, off we go and start running the bluffs.
That's badass.
And it was beautiful. I mean, I for a 13-year-old boy to walk along the railroad tracks along the Mississippi River from Wabasha to like Lake City and then these smaller cities along the river. I mean, I've walked up and down that thing countless times throughout my youth. My father, when I was old enough, I started working on farms, local farms.
Okay.
So I was baling hay at an early age. I was taking care of cows. I was shoveling shit, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. School sucked. I hated it. I was the only Latino with the 50 miles of the 4 cardinal directions. And small town Wabasha at the time, I don't feel that their mindset was ready for the likes of myself.
Okay.
So I fought like a fiend. And them local farm boys were kicking my butt daily, but I took it and I just kept on rolling. I go look back now, it's like it made me a better human being because I didn't want to be that way. There was, I didn't do real well in school. I played football, but you know, I was the outsider. I was always looking in.
Right.
I ran track. Okay. Wasn't great at it. One of the sports that I excelled in though was wrestling.
Okay.
I mean, I'd get in the mat and it's like I would get excited when my matches would come up. It's like, you know, because now I can actually do this and I'm learning things, how to maneuver my body, how to maneuver somebody else.
Yeah.
So that really went well for me. I mean, one-on-one, heads up, I found that I had a little niche here.
Okay.
I'm good at this at one-on-one. I can go up against some of the best, even the guys that were like, you're just a beaner, go away. I'm like, seriously? Okay, whatever. However, so that I did really well there. In my life, I had some adults that were veterans.
Okay.
Okay. I'm talking World War II. My grandfather was World War I. You go to our family plot in Minnesota, you can see our Civil War veterans
Wow.
of my family that have died. You're talking 250 years of military history in one area. Well, all of my uncles all served. Great, so World War II, my cousins. So I can honestly tell you, I think I was 7 years old when I realized that I was going to be a soldier.
Okay.
I knew I was going to be wearing the U.S. military apparel. My first choice was Marines. So anyway, at 17 in a day, I left Wabasha, Minnesota, and joined the military.
Okay.
I was done with school. I dropped out, the whole works. I had enough as a small town Minnesota, and their thinking of, you're lesser than I am. Predominant names were Metzes, Shoehammers. It's like, okay, I'm not having a good time here. So I left.
So back then, Booker, at 17, did your parents have to sign a waiver, or could you just sign in, or did you
No,
fudge your age?
I tried to fudge my age of 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they caught me, and then I got caught. And my recruiter said, you know what? You only got 6 months. Just go to school for 6 months, and then the day I turned 17, I hitchhiked my butt up to Red Wing, Minnesota, and walked right in the recruiter. I waited outside, everything else for them to open. I'm here. Let's go. Let's do this. And the recruiter's like, do your parents know where you're at? And it's like, well, they will when they wake up. So it's basically, when I got home that night after going through MEPS and all that stuff, getting signed up, the recruiter brought me back, and my parents were like, where have you been all day? Why weren't you at school? It's like, oh, I joined the Army, and I need you to sign off on this. My mother asked me, she goes, is this really what you want to do? And I'm like, yes, it is. Okay. 5:30 the next morning, I was on my, going there, getting my orders, getting on a plane and going to basic training. For me, I'm infantry through and through. I'm the blue cord. I'm like, hey, here you go. That's where when I got there, I can still remember the DI getting in my face because I was just happy to be there. Me in my little bag and smiling from ear to ear. And the DI, I can still remember this sitting on the bus. The drill instructor's like, what are you so happy about? What are you smiling? I said, just happy to be here, drill sergeant. Just happy to be here. And it was like a dream. Well, it was my dream. This is what I wanted to do. So through basic training, at the time when I went in there, I was the youngest guy in the entire company because at 17 and now 10 days, I was the youngest individual, and we were what they called a cohort, a cohesive readiness training group. So I was with the same guys from basic training, AIT, and everything for the first 3 years of my career. That was really cool because I got to know a lot of guys from all over the world. I didn't realize how little how small my thoughts were once I started dealing with people from New York, California, Texas. I was like, I was so small-minded when I got there at 17. I had no idea how big it really was. It was a beautiful thing for me because I just excelled at everything that they put in front of me, whether it was the marksmanship. And that's when I found out that I am not a right-handed firer. I'm a left-handed firer.
Okay.
I can shoot weapons with the left hand. I fight with my left hand. I shoot with my bow left hand, but I can't for life hit the target with my right.
Okay.
So, but
are you right-handed when you write?
Yeah, I am. That's what's odd.
Are you right eye or left eye dominant?
Left eye dominant.
Okay. Oh wow, you're so you right-handed, and then you're left eye dominant, and you shoot left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And even when I fight, even when I box, it's like I'm a lefty. I'm a southpaw because I'm just. Oh yeah. So my military career, again, small town Minnesota. I was just happy to get out of there. I didn't need to be there. My mother was a teacher in the school. My father worked for the state, and I needed to go. Simple, right? Young adult, get the hell out of here. My military career from Fort Knox to Fort Benning, to Korea, was in the Ranger battalions for several years. That was a dream. And I can't begin to tell you, because I could only dream about being special at that at a different tier than your average guy coming in.
Yeah.
And that was another dream, another bucket list item that I accomplished in my life, that when they put that tab on me, I was like the proudest day of my life. I had finished this, I had did this, and it's not something that only a handful of people could do.
Yeah.
So of course I was doing a lot of patting myself on the back. As I told you earlier, I usually keep things pretty close to the vest. So throughout my career, I never really put a lot of the badges on my uniforms except my dress uniforms. So you would see me in my everyday stuff with my name tag and U.S. Army and what unit I was in. That was it. But when I would put on my dress uniform, that's when you'd see the garbage salad, the Ranger tab, the certain, French commando school. You'd see all this other stuff, and people are like, "Holy shit!" Because I felt that I was never a braggart. I was never, I accomplished it for me and for nobody else. The one thing that I really thrived on too is the camaraderie, taking care of my brothers, taking care of wherever we would go, whatever country I was in. It's like the culture, because here we ask them to assimilate to our way of life. Well, when you're overseas, you got to assimilate to their way.
Right.
Because that's just what you do. So, and because if you don't, then everything just seems off, because you can't really communicate with the people. They're not trusting you, things like that. So, but if you're go along with some of their ways or assimilate to some of their things, you're good. My military career spanned from 1982 to 2007.
Wow.
So it was a beautiful time of my life. It was in the military is where I picked up the martial arts.
Okay. Yeah.
That's nice. Where I picked that up. Because stand-up fisticuff street brawling don't work real well. I mean, especially when you got guys that have other skills. A friend of mine from Texas, Victoria, Texas, actually.
Okay.
He's the one that turned me on to Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's style back in the day. So he started getting me, he was training me and everything else. And I found some off-post facilities to train at. Then I had a young E6, an E6, it was one of my superiors. He's like, you look like you'd be a boxer. I had never boxed a day in my life. All I did was brawl.
Right.
Well, he got me into boxing.
Okay.
So needless to say, being an Army boxer, you can get a little leeway in doing certain things. They give you a little extra. Oh, you're the company boxer, one of the boxers. Okay, well, you go over here and you do your own training.
Okay.
Hey, you don't have duty today. You got to go train. You got to get ready for this, this next fight that's coming up. Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
It worked out. The one for me, my soldiers used to tell me that it was kind of eerie because when I would be getting ready for a fight or when I would be getting in the ring, I was smiling. I wasn't like these guys are all staring you down. They go, I can still hear Bostic telling me, Specialist Bostic, Sergeant Brooks, you get up in that ring, you're just smiling from ear to ear. You're shaking his hand. You're like, hey, let's do this and have fun. And then you go to town. And don't get me wrong, I was an okay fighter. I was okay. I went down as many times as I, knocked somebody else down, not more. But I was okay with that. I love to scrap. I love to get in the ring. And then when you start incorporating your martial arts styles into that, I found myself using techniques in the martial arts, through one of my favorite ones is the Kali, where you're actually doing a hand block, you're doing a block, but then you're throwing the other fist. Right. So I started finding myself incorporating some of these different martial arts styles that I was picking up into my boxing, which made me a very effective fighter.
So probably you probably have a similar experience to me because I started when I was 13. I'm 52. So I'm 39 years of experience, but probably similar to you back in the day. Mixed martial arts was if you had boxing, wrestling, taekwondo, and then some other, skill, you would literally mix that all together and it became, your art, your repertoire, your thing. And now it's become this thing where it's like mixed martial arts. But like back in the day, you learned one thing and then you learned another thing and then you learned another thing separately, but then you yourself would just mix it up. And that's exactly what you're talking about, where you're incorporating all this stuff. But back then it wasn't, hey, learn this, this, and this in all one. You had to go out and like piecemeal that stuff together and then make it your own.
That is very true, Matt. Trust me. And that's what I've done with my life. Even the way that I look at this world, right, is what I've learned from different countries, different, whether it's a sandbox, whether it's Asia, whether it's Europe, it doesn't matter. It's what the martial arts has been one of my go-tos for some reason. Is like you said, the boxing, there's a style called pan and tuk, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but what they call the dirty boxing. What it is smashing your elbows, smashing your shoulders, smashing the tendons. It's not about, it's you're destroying them.
Destroying the weapons that could hurt you.
Right. And like you said before, I can use, empty-handed. You got to be able to go empty-handed with this. And that's something that, I'd rather grapple you with my hands than hit you with a stick or stab you. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, just something about that. Maybe that's from when I was in high school wrestling. It's like I enjoyed that fact of just going one-on-one with somebody. Yeah. With the martial arts, though, it's been a godsend for me. It saved my life on several occasions throughout my years as a soldier. Even as my time as a private contractor, it saved my life on more than one occasion. It's just being able to have, like we said, you take all these little things that you've learned throughout your life and you put them all together. Yeah. You are a formidable force. I mean, it's like, hello. Yeah. So that is one of my biggest hobbies by far. Weapons. Of course, sticks, knives, axes. I got to see. I have SIGs. I have H&Ks. I have Winchesters. I have Henrys. I have Walthers. So I have my own little armament. So I'm very happy with that. I have a PSC crossbow, which I am just. Nice. I'm getting better with it. I got a longbow, not an English style, but it's more of a recurve. Just a recurve. Yeah. But it's something good to use.
Absolutely.
No. Let's see. Knife fighting. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much I enjoy that stuff. That maybe it's violent, but at the same time, it's survival. Yep. Yeah. It's been a good run.
That's awesome. And this is another reason I wanted to have you on, because, I just had an instinct about you that we share the same philosophy. And basically, if there's a bag of guns or a pile of guns, if there's a pile of melee weapons, can I grab one and run it? Can I grab whatever, run and gun it? Can I grab a hammer and a screwdriver and be deadly as hell with it, as if I had two machetes? And that's what I love about, the martial arts too, is anything I do empty hand, I should be able to do with 1, 2, or whatever. And that's what I love about Filipino martial arts, is it's all dual wielding. And then if I'm not dual wielding, then I can check. And then, I've got an open hand. So it all blends together. And I just see the more you're in it too. And you can tell me from your perspective, because back in the day, it used to be pissing matches between this style and that style, and Kung Fu versus, Chinese versus Korean, or, Japanese versus Okinawan, or whatever. But like, the more you get into it and the more you're a student of it, the more you see the commonalities between all of them. And it's like, dude, this all comes from the same shit, So it's just a different interpretation. And in my martial arts, the thing is, my martial arts is my martial arts. Your martial arts is your martial arts. It's how you interpret it. And it truly becomes your art. So that's what I love about it.
Where I train, it's not just a Taekwondo studio. It's not just a Kung Fu studio. It's not we have Silat, we have Panantuk, and we have Jeet Kune Do. We have Eskrima. They're holding Silat seminars coming up. Nice. And some of these styles, I mean, they're fantastic. They're simply just to know, like, I mean, I probably don't have all the belts I could probably get, because like when I was in Korea, you paid for the belt. I mean, that's how that works. Like, the more money you gave, the more belts you got.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah. I call that a buy a belt school. As long as you pay the money, you'll keep getting a belt, and they'll keep trying to get that gravy train going.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, hell, I just go down to the local supply store and buy all the belts, and I can change them out as I want to. Right. So, but however, it's like when I find the instructors that are legit, and then I just put the emphasis on it, and I may not stick with it for years, but it's like what I do is I incorporate everything.
Yes.
What have I learned here? What have I learned there?
Yeah.
Submit like jujitsu, the different submission holds. Well, some of them same submission holds are in Kali and in Eskrima and in stick fighting. It's now I'm using a stick instead of, hand to hand. It's so it just goes really good. So
that is awesome. So one thing is like, we talk about it in the group and stuff like that, but one of the points is I want to attract men that are trying to become the best versions of themselves, no matter what age, right? So mastery is treading water. It's never a one and done. So it's constant motion, it's constant energy. And for me, the only way to become my best self as a male is to try to be squared away in 3 different subjects. So physically, mentally, and spiritually. So kind of walk me through that. Is, sounds like you had a gift with the physical when you were younger. And then, how did you find your mental and your spiritual? And then how what does that look like for you today?
Oh, okay. That's kind of a rough question for me today, but overall,
okay.
Mentally, I always wanted to be, I was never trying to outdo anybody but the person I was yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So every day I wake up, even then, it's like I wanted to be a better version than the person I was yesterday.
That's awesome.
I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to be smarter. I wanted to be patient, more understanding, some more wisdom, right? I put that in, I give that to the people that I associated myself with. Don't get me wrong, like everybody else in our lives, we've come across the problem where we ran with the wrong circles. We got into trouble. We were doing the wrong things, but something in us is, this isn't right.
Right.
Okay. So my big thing, even as a young soldier, as a private with nothing, yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. What do you need me to do? Yeah. Right. And that was it. I'm following my orders, following everything. Then as I became a leader, I used to tell my soldiers, I want you to be better than me. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be the best version of yourself every day.
That's awesome.
That's all I can ask of you. Mm-hmm. You give me 100%, I'm always going to give you 100% back. You give me 150, I'm going to give it right back. And that's how I led. I would never ask anybody to do something that I would not do or I have not done. Right. Whether it's burning shit in 55-gallon drums or running guard duty in the rain in freezing or standing out in the freezing cold. I would never ask. I was never like some of these other guys I run into is, oh, you're an NCO now, put it back. So mentally, it was always being a better version of who is Sarge, who is Howard, and lead by example. Yep. My own personal challenges, I mean, everybody has them, yep. But it's how do you want to deal with them? There's a book I read, Obstacles Way, and it quotes out of some Roman Caesars using, adversity and how do you make it a positive change for yourself? Mm-hmm. How can you use it for, instead of, hey, we just lost that battle and we lost X number. Okay, how can we use this to make ourselves better? What can we do?
Yeah.
So again, when obstacles hit us, and this is part of the reason why I'm really grateful you asked me, because I'm running into right now, personally, I'm running into a hard time. Okay. It's not a big deal. I know I've got big shoulders. I can stand up. I'm going to weather the storm and I'll survive. Mm-hmm. So, but I got to be a better version than the person that was, moping around, feeling sorry for himself. I got to snap. And how do you snap yourself out of that? What do you do? All right. So I went out and bought a gun. All right. So that made me happy. And then so mentally, it's just about being able to overcome those adversities that we encounter in the best way we possibly can. Like I say again, I remind myself to be the best version I can of myself every day, better than I was yesterday. Spiritually, okay, I was in a Catholic school, God help us all. And when I was asked, it really upset my mother when the pastor and the principal said that I had to leave because I was not like I said, I didn't fit well in that community in the first place.
Right.
So my mother was really upset that now I had to go to public school. I got really angry one day when I was sitting there in church because my mother was the president of the church council, right? And the pastor sat up there and said, we want 10% of your annual income. I'm like, and I looked at my mother, like, what does he mean? And she said, the tithing. This is the tithing you give to your church, you know, to support the church. And I'm like, and I thought to myself, well, okay, you're talking to a kid now. His annual income is what, maybe a couple $100, and he wants 10% of that. Ain't happening.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, though, and having been to different countries and different cultures, I've been to mosques, been to some mosques. I've been to Latter-day Saints. I've been to Baptist churches. I've met with druids, actual druids.
Wow. That's cool.
One of my classes in college was a sociology and philosophy of religion. So later on. So I really got the opportunity to look into the different religions. And I found it really entertaining because everything that they were saying is the same thing I was taught as a child through the Catholic school systems. You know, this is, you know, be good to your fellow man, you know, is take care, you know, worship your mother and father, you know, take care of those that can't take care of themselves, you know, being humble, being, you know, empathetic and compassionate to the people around you.
Yeah.
All these religions are basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing from the Quran, which I read, and the Holy Bible. I mean, so it's given me a different perspective towards religion in the way, let's say, my mother's Mexican Catholicism works, which is hardcore Mexican Catholic, right? I look at it as I'm here to protect those that cannot protect themselves. I have chosen to be that person. Yeah. Nobody told me I had to be. Right. I am here to make sure that the children of this world have the best possible care that they possibly got, whether they're mine or not.
Right.
I feel that the way that I live my life represents my faith and my spirituality and how I believe in the higher power, right? You know, and it's, you know, I can still see myself handing out MREs to kids that in the Middle East that they were hungry. You know, I can still hear the guys, oh yeah, let's put some Copenhagen in this Jolly Rancher and give it to the kids. And I tell you what, those guys were burning poop for days. That just rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. So spirituality, back to how can I be the best version of myself every day, and to my people around me, anybody that I come in encounter with. And this is something that I've been told is I trust people to right out the gate until you give me a reason not to. Right. I will do everything. I will give you the shirt off my back, all the money in my wallet, which I have done. You know, I've had, hey, you know, I need $10 for this, and you need $10 for food. I get it. Let's go get you some. I'll buy you. Have what you want. Again, spirituality. I may believe differently than my neighbors next door, you know, but I believe that there is a higher power that watches out over us. Otherwise, I would not be here now talking to you.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I've been through some shit that I swear to God, brother, how I walked out of that, I'll never know. I mean, I put my soldiers in body bags, good friends in body bags, and it breaks my heart every time I think about it. However, I've learned to deal with that, and I accept that pain. Because in some cases, it's like when they ask me, well, how come you don't get upset about that? It's like, have you ever cost anybody their life? They're like, what? I says, have you ever got anybody killed? And they look at you like, no. Well, when you can, then worry about it. Then it's like, then make a big deal about it. Right. Because in my life, you know, I miss my guys. It happens. That's what we chose to do.
Yep.
So
that's one thing. There's a lot there, and I appreciate you sharing, but it's, and for me, spirituality is not, yes, definitely believing in something, in a higher power, something bigger than us, but it's not a particular sect. It's not a particular way. It's not a particular religion, right? So it's really my interpretation of it. And it sounds, and again, I just got a vibe off you, and it's like, hey, man, I want to talk to you because it sounds like you and I share the same philosophy too, is there's almost a responsibility with, if you're going to wear the mantle of men, a true man, and I have this knowledge that I've been given and I've been blessed to have the ability and the opportunities to learn martial arts for 39 years and not get hurt. And I was a police officer and I was this. I have a responsibility. And and if I have a concealed carry permit in Texas and I can go, I have a responsibility to load up and go out. When I go out in the public, there might be an opportunity where the good Lord says, hey, I need a high-speed, low-drag ninja to kick the living shit out of what's about to happen and cross your path. So there's almost a responsibility to protect the meek, protect the weak, protect the old and the infirm. And, and I'm not out there looking for a fight, but I'm not hiding from an opportunity for justice to be had.
I agree with you. I agree 100% with you. I'm not going to hide from it. I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to turn away from it. I mean, adversity is something that we go through every day in this world.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When we're born, we're always taking naps. We're pooping all over ourselves. Well, that's what's going to happen to us in our 80s and 90s.
Right.
Is we're going to nap and be doing the same stuff.
Circle, yeah.
Right, that's circle of life. And I have the gentleman that I work with, and he's 89, and he's at home, and he's got personal care assistants. I tell you what, there's nothing I wouldn't do for that guy. I built him a handicap ramp for his house, and it's like, we didn't have to do that. Yeah, I did, because my friend, you needed it. Yeah. Out of my own pocket. It's not a big deal. I've got another gentleman, a retired Navy guy down the street, World War II vet, CB, all this other stuff. Tell you what, I'm over there shoveling his driveway. We got 12, 13 inches of snow. I'm over there. He's like, why are you doing that? It's because I can, and you're old. So shut the hell up and go back in your house with the wife and move you along.
Right.
I mean, but again, that's my personality. Even the suits and ties I deal with on a daily basis, which I'd like to push in front of a light rail train.
Right.
Because it's like, I love them how they say, I graduated from here and I've got these degrees. And I'm like, well, my Brown Star's got the same paper stock as your degree, so I give two shits.
Right.
But at the same time, I'll see that same person with a flat tire out in the middle of the road, and it's nasty out. And hey, I'll drop what I'm doing. Hey, you need help, and I'm here to help you, regardless of whether I like you or not.
Right.
That's the other part is, even if I don't like you, it doesn't mean I won't work with you.
Right.
I hope you understand that. It's like, it's interesting because there's a lot of people I dislike in this world because they're too shallow, but doesn't mean I'm not going to help them out.
Right. Well, and the other thing is if you see something and you pass it by, or, it's doing the right thing, even when no one's watching, but it's also how you lived your life on a daily basis, or even on a minute by minute basis. That's the person you got to go to bed with at night.
Exactly. Man, it's like family. Yeah. I mean, I was a Girl Scout troop leader, for God's sake, for my daughters.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Granted, I couldn't go to their campouts, which was a rule.
Oh yeah.
Fine. But the young ladies in my Girl Scout troop, they had the archery badges, they had the physical training badges, they had all these outdoor badges that other groups weren't getting. It's because, hey, we're going out to this nature center, and we're going to look at animal tracks. We're going to look at the difference between squirrels and rabbits and raccoons, and you're going to know what they are, right? And the different habitats this is an owl habitat versus an eagle habitat. This is, it's showing them the difference, because
that's lost. Yeah, that's lost in today's day. Yeah.
And that's what I grew up doing, just by myself. Me and my little Boy Scouts handbook sitting out there. Yeah. Oh, that's what this herb is. Okay. And that's the other part too. The other part too is I'm a part prepper halftime. I'm stocked. I'm good. I mean, I know what I got to do. And there's so many out here that aren't ready. There's something happened. My parents lost power. Hey, your son's got you. Because they're a block away. That's why I'm right here by my parents. I'm a block away.
Yep.
So I took my generator over there, hooked them up, got them up and running. It's like, well, what do you got to use? I said, oh, that's okay. I got solar panels at the house, and I got an inverter. I'm good. See ya. So yeah.
Got to be your own cavalry these days. No one's going to come save you. And you got to You got to surround. I call it. You got to meet and keep those relationships tight with your foxhole buddies. There's not a whole lot of people that got your back, right? So if you can meet a few men, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to meet and talk to you. So, we were kind of talking before the call too, is, I'm going to try to say, hey, we're going to me and a couple of guys are going to meet up here. Whoever wants to come, we can camp out, we can train, we can break bread, and we can do some cool shit together, So it's a great opportunity to use social media for that. But I mean, foxhole buddies are few and far in between. A lot of people are fair weather friends, and I don't need somebody flagging the living shit out of my back, because he doesn't know the right end of a rifle, So.
Again, that's like even what I'm signing up for now. Next weekend, I'm doing what they call force on force training in Jordan, Minnesota, where it's, like actually, you're encountering an adversaries that are like held up or something like that. It's to help me stay in tune to what I have been trained to do for almost 20 years and what I trained others to do. Right. Yeah. And it's something that I got away from. But now I'm full force back into it. It's like, here we go, let's do this. And that's something else that I've been doing recently, is just getting back into some of the things that I lost over the last few months. And just tuning everything back up, Matt, just getting everything back and where it should be.
Can you tell some folks that may not know? Cause I think a lot of times people think it's become more popular, or people are starting to understand a little bit more now. But like most people, when they think special forces, they think Navy SEALs and they think Green Beret, special forces. Rangers are high speed, low drag, badasses, room clearing, all that. So, do you want to explain kind of the niche in the military world of what Rangers do and part of that training? Or is that another episode?
that's believe me, that's, in my opinion, that's another episode. It's like trying to talk to a SEAL with like it is going through butts. Right. For me, the Rangers was all about the tab and the prestige, because I had a friend of my uncle's who was at Andulak is a Ranger during World War II during D-Day, and I had gotten to meet this gentleman, and back when it was just a little blue diamond, and wow, the stuff that he told me, and it just made my skin crawl, but in a good way. It's like, wow, this is what I want to do. My day of Ranger school, first in, we're support of usually another high-speed team such as Delta or whatever. We are trained for airport taking, hostage retrieval, hunter-kill teams. Now this is back in the 1980s. What it is today, I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't ran across any that are after 2000. I don't know what their training is like. I have only met one that went to Ranger school, and they phased him out after the first 2 weeks. So my version of a Ranger is, we are the ones that you drop us in there and we just go. You give us our mission, whether it's to take the airport, Grenada, jump in, take the airport, low level drop 500 feet. Your chutes are barely opening at 500 feet. And then we secure the airport. So we do hostage retrieval. You go in there, and it's not like you see in the movies. It's not like that. It's Mogadishu is a good example of that. Some good friends, but still shit happens. And you go in there, it's supposed to be fast in, fast out. Don't always work that way.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into more detail, but right now I can even feel myself getting a little excited.
Yeah. No, but I got you, brother. No, I appreciate that. But no, I love the fact that you're getting back into the force on force, and I'm trying to get back to, where I would really like to start going next level is do, even simunitions or I'm trying to airsoft. and where you've got live room clearing and things like that. I try to look at rooms, and there's this one work area that I go to, and I'm like, this room would be a bitch to try to clear. Of course, as a one man, you're foolish to try to clear anything as a one man, because
True.
you don't see it, you don't own it anymore. You got to reestablish ownership. But I try to always have that vision and have my chops when I look around and say, how would I do this and how would I do that? So I think it's cool that you're doing to a force on force. When's that happening?
Next weekend, next Saturday. Actually.
Awesome, man. That's cool.
But what we did in back in my day when I was down at Fort Stewart, we used paintball guns.
Yeah.
With the headgear and nothing else. I mean, it's just, it worked out really well. And then it worked out so well that my commander was like, wow, we should incorporate this company level, because we're just doing it like platoon level. That's, a couple of guys had some, we would do squad on squad. But then what we would do is we would treat the paintballs shots as actual wounds.
Yeah.
So this is where we were getting our immediate first aid training. It's like, okay, hey, he's got the red paintball here on his arm. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
It was a lot of, the guys really enjoyed that because it was more fun than anything shooting at each other with these paintballs. Right. But at that time it was still rather expensive. And my company commander thought it was a great training tool, a great training aid for that stuff. So
that's what I like about paintballs and simunitions, because versus airsoft. But there's some places around different urban areas where they have these warehouses where they'll do airsoft, and I'm like, damn, these kids that are into this shit, they're learning probably some really high, some really good CQB. Close quarter battle stuff. So
yeah, trust me, the CQB portion of that stuff. But what scares me the most though is these young adults. They don't have the restraint of when to and not to.
Right. Yeah.
They haven't been there.
Maturity. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. It's hard. It's like when I train others up here with, when I used to work for Harley Davidson as a motorcycle instructor, and training people to ride motorcycles, especially the older ones, were easier to train than the young ones.
Yeah.
But it's just because, they wanted to get in there and hit that throttle right away.
Right.
Well, on a Harley, you don't just hit the throttle, you ride it. It's not a rice rocket. So that was the difference between the young ones, your 20s and mid 20 guys and 30-year-olds. It's like, they just want to ride.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but that's my thought on that.
So yeah, I'm a Harley guy too. I don't have one anymore. And one of the reasons I don't ride anymore is because I couldn't relax because of all the other drivers out there.
Fair enough.
So it was like, it became like, and I've been in a wreck. You got two kinds of riders: those that have been in wrecks and those that are going to. That's the saying, right? But I had a deer come out in front of me. That was one thing. But yeah, I love Harleys. That's all I, ever would ride. And been to Sturgis with my brother and back, and that was fun. And yeah, I've owned probably 4 or 5 of them. So that's awesome. You're a Harley guy too.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's an understatement. You got to look at my closet.
Yeah.
There's more Harley apparel and leather chaps. I got different styles for whatever. It's crazy.
But
cool. Having worked for them was fun. See, that's the other part. I've done so many different things. I've been a teacher in the inner city schools. I've been a manager. I even had a suit and tie for a while. It lasted 30 days. When I took off the clip on, gave it to my supervisor. I quit. I can't do this. So me and my little box walked out the door. The PMC work from one side of the world to the other, loved it. The biggest change for me is when my youngest child was born, because I wasn't here for my oldest two. A lot. I was too busy being a soldier. Mm-hmm. But when my youngest one was born, I refused to not be there for her like I was for the other two. Uh-huh. And that's when I put everything, like, I'm all done with this now. Kind of bites me in the ass some days because I do miss it. I'm sure you understand that feeling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
However, family is very important. I don't know about you, but I've got 2 ex-wives. I've got 7 grandkids. It's like, my oldest grandkids are now, hey, Grandpa, can I come? I'm fighting with Mom. Can I come stay at the house? And of course you can. But the first thing you're going to do when you get here is you're going to call your mom and tell her where you're at.
Yeah.
you know, just out of respect. And I'd rather have you here with me than Joe Blow's house, but you're not bringing your boyfriend. That ain't happening.
There you go. There you go. So you're a country boy. You can survive. You know how to trap. You know how to hunt. You know how to skin. Military skills. Sounds carpentry. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I can build you a 2,000 square foot house in 5 days.
That's badass.
I'm telling you, I can build you a strip mall in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What do you want? Yeah.
That is amazing. You're a good guy to know. And then all the martial arts. How long have you been doing it?
Martial arts, I started probably when I was 18. So you're talking, I'll be 57. So you're talking almost 29 years.
Yeah.
So like you know, pretty much similar, but again, depending on where I was stationed, determined a lot of what I was studying.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was in Germany, I paid a lot of attention to the jiu-jitsu, right? Because when I was stationed over there, when I was in Korea, I paid a lot of attention to the Aikido styles and some of that. Here, continental United States, West Coast, I paid attention to the Filipino martial arts. Here in the Midwest, I was looking a lot at the stick fighting and the eskrima. When I was out on the East Coast, I really got into the Jeet Kune Do more after my friend Elvin showed me the way back when I was 18. So depending where I was stationed, I gravitated to whatever was closest, you know, to post or to where I lived at the time.
Sweet.
I mean, there's always a boxing facility somewhere, right? And that was my first go-to. My ex-brother-in-law, he's the one that got me tuned into Panentuken and how well that worked with Western style boxing, how well they collaborated together, how well you could intermingle the two, the stances and everything. But now instead of just my fists, I'm throwing elbows. I'm doing the quick pops with the arms, you know, where I can literally knock somebody off their feet. That CQB. Yep. Right. That's what I like about the Panentuken, because you're right. It's like Wing Chun. You're right up inside of there, and you're just going at it.
Yeah. And then people want to gain distance because they're uncomfortable, and then you just stay on them like glue, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Wing Chun, which is another style I enjoy training on when I get the opportunity, is it's a constant forward motion. You never go backwards in Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Never. There is no backward movement. Everything is forward. Just like some of the stick fighting, whether it's a screamer or what's the other style? I forget off the top of my head. But some styles, Filipino martial arts, there is no downward stroke towards the legs, because what Daniel Santo, I don't know if you're familiar with the man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. When I went to one of his seminars, he pointed out that some of these Filipinos, they would wade out, thigh high in the water. So there was no strikes for the legs or down low. Everything was all up in the air.
Yeah.
Because that's how they could say nobody's ever come to our island. Right. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, meet them in the water. You're not setting foot on dry land.
I don't know if you, and then if you've ever read about or heard of Larry Hartzell, I got the opportunity to train with him before he died. The way he could hold a person down with just the palm of his hand on the top of his head once he was down, you couldn't get up no matter what you did. Right. He held me in that spot, and I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't do anything. And here's this guy, he's got to be 60 something, and I'm in my 30s, and he's like, and he's trying to explain to the class what he's doing. I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't move. I could not get up. I was squirming all over. Daniel Santo is the one that kind of threw me for a loop, because here's this little Filipino gentleman. And the next thing you know, it's like, I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to, Guru, I got to honor your position. I ended up, next thing you know, he did something, and next thing you know, I was on my back. It happened so fast. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah. So I've had a great opportunity to train with some great people in my life.
That's awesome, man. Those are legends.
Yeah.
So Booker, do you have a morning routine? Do you have a nighttime ritual or anything like that just kind of, how do you start your day? Like what I try to do is I try to do a stick routine in the morning. I try to do my kata, and then I try to have some quiet time. I'll drink my coffee, meditate, and try to reach zero, right? Or get to an alpha brainwave state. So what do you do? What can you share with the audience? And because shit, you're you know so much stuff. I mean, it's like, where do you pick from? Where does Booker pick from to make part of his morning routine or nighttime ritual? What do you got, bro?
My morning usually starts out turn on the coffee pot, of course, right?
Yeah.
Once you get done with the diff. And then it's like, I roll out my yoga mat.
Okay.
Okay. I sit there and because as you know, being 52, right?
Yep.
That's okay. I'm 50. We are not getting any more limber than we were back. Yeah. See, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things I work on is my flexibility of my joints and everything like that.
Okay.
So, because in what I do every day, I could be lifting 50-pound bags of ice melt or 80-pound bags of concrete. I could be doing, humping lumber up and down stairs, carrying drywall, right? It just depends. I don't know, right? Or I could just be sitting at my desk all day, on the phone, yelling at people, not yelling at people, but telling people to get their heads out of their ass.
Right.
So I try to state the flexibility is a big thing for me.
Okay.
I get up, usually my day starts around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So, you get to the yoga, right? 15, 20 minutes. What I'm doing before I even do that, though, I run downstairs and I turn on my sauna.
Okay.
So I do my yoga, go in there, sit in the sauna for 15, 20 minutes, come up, shower, eat my breakfast, feed the cat, feed the lizard, have some breakfast. Then I open up my laptop and then, okay, check out my building, what's going on, check out the HVAC. But then throughout the day, I make it a point to do something physical. I got my phone is set up and my watch is set up in such way that it sets off an alarm that either I'm doing 25 push-ups, I'm drinking water, it's snack time, right? I have to really schedule and program myself into doing that because if I'll get carried away, I'm sure you understand.
Oh, yeah.
You get going with what you're doing, you get carried away. So I've really got to keep my day scheduled for myself.
Yeah.
Right. I try to eat regular. See. So throughout the day, I'm doing something physical. I have a TRX system on the back door of my office.
Yeah.
I have a TRX system in the truck. Nice. So if I decide to take a walk in the nature center, hey, 15 minutes of your day is nothing.
Right.
It's absolutely nothing.
Yep. I love TRX. Love it. I got one at the house. Love it.
I've got three of them. One at the house, one in my truck, and one at work.
Yeah.
But that's how I operate. That's how I got to be. I don't have the 6-pack abs anymore, and I'm not looking for them. That shit's all gone. Right. But I want to be able to throw guys like yourself and myself through the wall when I need to.
Yep. Exactly.
That's
functional fitness. That's all I'm trying to keep up is functional fitness. Yep.
Exactly. Depending on what day of the week it is too. I usually, if I'm not doing yoga, I'm at the gym, right? But I also have my own home gym. My home gym is set up just like Anytime Fitness and Lifetime Fitness. I got the same equipment and everything else in my basement.
Nice.
The reason that I use the gym is to give me a break of scenery.
Yeah.
And then I even pay for a trainer sometimes, just because it's like, let's break up the cycle. Let's get rid of my routine and shake it up a little bit. What am I missing?
Right.
So my martial arts usually it could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or not Friday, but Saturday or Sunday, any one of those days because they're closed on Friday. Okay. So it just depends. I'll look at the schedule. What do I want to train today? Do I want to do stick fighting today? Do I want to do old school? Do I want to go back to the Panantukan classes? What do I want to work on? I'm fortunate enough. I mean, I'm not high level as some of these guys that have been, that's what they know. This is what they practice all the time. But I go in there with the idea of like, I'm going to learn something new today to add to my arsenal that I have already. Yeah. Then I just practice at home, right? I have a lot of DVDs, martial art DVDs. If you get the opportunity, Paul Vanook, Rapid Attack System. Yeah. Right. He's trained some of the SEALs and Special Forces guys. I've got a lot of his material, and I can't say enough about it. Right.
Rapid Attack System.
Yeah. Do I got a piece of that?
I've seen some of his. Yeah, I've seen some clips of him, and he's trained the SEALs and stuff, and I've seen him do some really quick, like headbutts to people's chins and stuff. Yeah.
Because this one I got here is called Killer Instinct.
Okay.
But anyway, it's just stuff I got. So physically, dailies, it's just I take care of my buildings, take care of my job, take care of myself, do the best I can. Multivitamins. I don't like taking prescription meds if I don't have to.
Right.
Everything I got is holistic. It's very, gingers and turmeric and stuff for your stomach. But as we get older, I find that I have to have these things. Otherwise, I'm popping Tums like they're candies. At one point I had Tums in like at my on the table, like in a candy bowl.
Right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But I'm also right now I'm doing a lot of research on diet because I'm going to start meal prepping because I'd like to shed another 15, 20 pounds. I mean, I've lost 30 pounds in the last 20 pounds in the last 7 months.
Okay.
But it's because I'd gotten, like I said something earlier that, I've been running through my own issues, but I'm trying to get back on track. So the martial arts, depending on what I'm doing, it's what I want to go train that day.
Yeah.
I just got to look at the schedule and then away I go. Or I always do my best to attend the seminars, whether it's a Muay Thai, whether it's a Silat, whether it's a Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
Any seminar that they present, I always sign up for and I go. Because it's just something that I'm being taught by, a renowned figure of this industry of these different ways. And then how can I fit that into what I already have?
Yeah. So what I love about what you're saying too is if you know everything, you can't be taught anything. So you're a consummate student. And that's what I always try to keep in mind. I always want to be open-minded and be a consummate student and always learn from others because I can even have a 5-year-old kid teach me something about, if you're open-minded enough, but no, that's amazing. So how do you wrap up your day? Do you do a daily, like I try to do a daily gratitude, I got this, and I may have it on me. Yeah, I got this rock I carry around, and this is kind of like a gratitude rock, and it's kind of this thing where I pick it up in the morning, and I'm grateful for another day, another opportunity, and then when I go to bed and I take it out, I think about at least 10 things I'm most grateful for that day. But that's how I try to close my day out. And my daughter painted that rock for me, and it's in the shape of a heart, so that's why it really means a lot to me there. But that's kind of how I close my days. Just try to close it out with some gratefulness and some gratitude. What do you do, Booker?
Myself, sir, I meditate.
Okay.
I
nice.
sit back. I have a couple apps that I use. The Veterans Administration I got. That's one part too. Is I suffer from PTSD, hardcore. Right. And that's half the reason why I do what I do. It keeps my head from. Okay. So I meditate. I use an app on the phone, one called Calm. I'm sure everybody's heard about that one, right? And then this pulls a virtual toolbox that helps me release the day, get rid of the thoughts of like, okay, I just got to let go of everything that's not going on just so I can have some peace. And that's usually the last thing I do for the day before I go to bed is just sit there. Quietly. Well, as long as the cat isn't rubbing up on me or something, but I'm just trying to be quiet and just sit there being grateful for the day, being grateful. Hey, I made it through another one. There's no dead bodies. I don't have to hide anything. I'm good. It's like, and so that's, sometimes I'll work out, like an hour or two before I go to bed, but it's not a heavy workout. It's just something like I may have worked something really hard that day, but while I'm doing it, I always just try to focus on that and let go of all of the shenanigans that go on in this world, whether it's my daughter having issues with her husband or whether it's one of the grandkids or whether it's work, you got to be able to let that stuff go. And sometimes, I don't know about yourself, but it's really hard for me. I'm always constantly running through my head. And then my last go-to sometimes, if I'm really bored and I just want to do something I play video games.
Yeah.
First person shooter. Oh my God. And I'll sit there for an hour, just blowing shit up and watching, scoping things out. So the video games has been a good outlet for me on some occasions because it's no brain required.
Right.
Absolutely no brain. But the meditation is a big deal for me. That's the breathing, box breathing. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Hold, stop. I do that constantly and that's like what people ask me about. How come you don't ever get angry? It's like, I've got reasons to be angry, and this isn't one of them. Right. You know, give me a really good reason to be angry, then I can get angry. But this out here in my world, it's mundane, it's trivial, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, box breathing I use a lot. And I was talking to someone in one of the threads, and it was like, well, you know, I know how to meditate, I know how to box breathe, and it's really me reminding myself that I have these tools, because I can see myself starting to get upset, and I need to be better at catching myself before I go down that road and go, all right, hold on, box breathe. Because whenever I remember to do stuff to calm myself down, I'm chill and I'm relaxed and I'm unaffected. So it's just me being able to recognize, because sometimes people do some stupid crap and I just want to educate them.
Yes. Personally, one thing that runs through my head is personal experiences. You being a law enforcement, me being the soldier that I was, there's things that go on out here that you just shake your head at and you just walk away, because it's like, I mean, that's a whole new level of stupid. Right? You just smile. And I guess for me, it's a lot. I just feel grateful for the fact that, one, I'm still on this upside of the ground, on the green side.
Right.
Because I got way too many people behind me that are not. And I often, sometimes that helps me put things like my PTSD, what helps put that in perspective, is the people that I've lost, they looked up to me, and I can't let them down.
Right.
You know, they had these expectations of who I am, and I can't let them down. Yeah. You know, I'm a different version. I'm going to be the man I'm going to be.
Right.
That's just it. And these people that were in my life for those brief periods of time, you know, they're watching.
Yeah.
They're gonna hold me accountable. Either they're gonna be waiting for me at the pearly gates with a bottle of Jose Cuervo or some Patron, or one of them's gonna meet me down in hell with a bottle of bourbon. I don't know, one or the other. We'll see which way.
Well, brother, man, this has been fantastic. I appreciate the time on a Saturday. And before we close, I just said, you have one thing that you could tell men coming up today as to what they need to do to be the better man. What's your advice for the young men today that are, because my thing is, it's so hard in our modern day society of conveniences to be hardcore. You know, I mean, we don't have to fight anymore. The soldiers fight our wars. We have the cops, you know, tell the neighbors to turn their music down, and we don't even have to do that. We don't even have to get out of we can call Grubhub and have food delivered to us. We don't have to do shit these days. So it's like, what's your advice for the men these days to say, hey man, this is my one key advice to try to be the best version of yourself? And I know that's such a broad subject, but if you
but the simple thing about that though is just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Be active. When you know the naysayers, avoid them.
Yeah.
Right. Those that say you can't, kick them to the curb.
Yeah.
Get away from the negativity of your life. You know, those people that, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, there's always going to be somebody out there, especially people we know, they don't want you to be successful.
Right.
They don't want you to leave that circle that you're in, because that means that they're going to have to change too.
Right.
And they don't want to. They like their misery. So be good to yourself, believe in yourself, and, you know, be the best version of you can every goddamn day. You wake up, be grateful, show the gratitude to the world that, hey, you know what? Nobody's shooting at you. You got 3 squares, you got a roof over your head, and it's actually an enclosed house. You know, you're not sleeping on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, been there, done that, bought that t-shirts 1,000 times over. Yeah. So believe in yourself, be the best version you can be of yourself every day. And it's hard, Matt, you know that as well as I do. Yeah. It's really hard sometimes, because you just got to get past yourself.
Yep.
Because we are we're our own worst enemies. Our minds are. Yep. We are one. So yeah, believe in yourself, be the best version of yourself every day you can be. You know, be grateful.
Yeah. And that's one thing. I try to be 1% better than I was the day before, getting better and better every day in every way. That's one of my mantras. And that was one of the mantras that That's another reason I'm going to have you, because we had a thread going, and one of your mantras was, "They're not shooting at me today," and that's a pretty damn good perspective,
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's like it's when I first said that to my employers or my contract people, it's like they're like, "What?" It says, "You get shot at a few times. I tell you what, that is a butt tightening experience. I don't care who you are." I got to share this quick story with you.
Absolutely.
Young E2, right? Granada, back in the 80s. We're in a firefight. Okay. You're talking an 18-year-old boy, right? Got my rifle up. I'm squeezing the trigger, click, hit the reset, slap it in there. And then all said and done, you're talking 30, 2 minutes, if that. They're saying, okay, ammo check. Okay. I tell my squad leader, I'm out. I went through all my mags. He came back, looked at my mags, smacked me alongside the head because I never fired a shot. I was just ejecting the mags. I was that scared.
Wow.
Right. And he came up to me and he smacked me alongside the steel pot. And he's like, Brooks, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's because I'm like, what? I fought it. I shot. He goes, you never took your weapon off safe, brother. You never, you squeezed the trigger. And it's like, you just kept dropping. You'd put one in, you drop the magazine and just let it go. So needless to say, for the next 2 years, that's all I heard about. How I never fired a shot because I kept dropping my mags. And don't get me wrong, it was a funny story to me because it's like, you're trained the repetition. I could put the magazine in quick.
Yeah.
Everything else. Yeah. Well, an 18-year-old boy from small town Minnesota.
Yeah.
No jack squat. So that's kind of my funny.
Your first firefight. That's a great first firefight story. You're pulling on the trigger 30 times. You're reloading mags.
Yeah, that was my first firefight. That was definitely oh God, I remember that day. Anyway, Matt, I appreciate you having me here. I hope I didn't talk your ear off too much.
Oh,
I hope
man.
that
it's been great, brother. It's been great. And I look forward to having some communication. Once I put this up there, then I'll throw it on the page. If anyone wants to watch it, it'll be on my YouTube page as well. But man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to a day when we can meet up with a couple of guys in the group and we can train together and break bread together and tell stories together.
All right. Hey, Matt, let me throw this out there. Let me just piggyback on that. And gentlemen, any of you that are watching this and you need an ear and you have nobody else to turn to, or you want to talk to somebody that you don't know, feel free. I'm on here. My phone number, email are on my profile. Help yourself. I've always got an ear for a brother that needs a hand. I don't care who you are, what state you're in. I'll do the best I can from where I'm at. But I'm always going to be there for somebody that needs help. Bottom line. Sweet. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Thank you, brother. Cheers.
Cheers. We'll talk to you soon.